Okay guys, today at the shop we have a relatively simple upgrade instead of a repair. I guess sometimes it can be repair if you need to replace the hard drive in a PS4, but this is a PS4. This is actually the new matter one, so it doesn't get scratched. It's really easy to get to the hard drive in these. You literally just grab a hold here and then slide this direction. So literally just this motion, and this comes loose, and then you just lift the front up and slide this way towards the back because this is holding on. Usually it's nice to clean out a little bit of the dust and stuff in there. You don't need that built up anyways. Could take an air compressor to it if it's really bad. This one's not too bad. Just a little bit on the edges here and there. Okay. And there's a lot of videos of this being done on the internet. But I usually try to go into more detail and help you out so you know exactly what you're doing if you want to try it yourself. Okay, first off, tools. I'm just using a 2.0 Phillips head screwdriver. If you wish to move over your data from your old drive, if your old drive's still working, you will need a large hard drive, up to at least above 500 gigs, because that's the size of the hard drive is 500 gigs, so if you're backing it up, you want around 500 gigs. I'm using a 1 terabyte. As you see, this drive enclosure's been open because the easiest way to get your upgraded drive is to steal it out of a drive enclosure, because most places don't sell laptop drives. So what I did is I went to Walmart, just bought an off-the-shelf 2 terabyte slim drive. Actually, first I went to Office Max thinking, oh, computer stuff, I'll hit Office Max. I should have hit Walmart first. I ended up buying a Western Digital drive, which I did not know Western Digital is definitely not a drive you want to buy. These normally come with a hard drive like this, with this connector, plugged into a SATA to USB adapter board. Not Western Digital. They actually make one board hooked to the hard drive itself that goes all the way through to USB. No way to change it out to SATA, which is what you need to put in here. So, do not buy anything Western Digital. I used to swear that Western Digital was the worst. They improved their drive technology, so I started buying their stuff, and now they're trying to save money again and ripping you off, basically, by not being able to use your drive for anything you want once you buy it. Okay, another thing you're going to need for this is a 3.0 USB drive. This one's kind of hard to tell it's 3.0, because for some reason, SanDisk decided to go with a red interior when 3.0 is supposed to be blue. But I know this is a 3.0 drive. What you got to do is you got to install the software for reinstallation on here. Before you do that, though, you do need to back up your software using the Back Up and Restore program inside the PS4 to a hard drive. This is a 1 terabyte, so it'll fit the 500 gig image, which actually this one was like close to 300 gig image. They actually weren't full yet. They just want to get upgraded early. Yes, you can take and hook a 2 terabyte hard drive up, and especially format it and get it to work with the PS4 and use it for storage. Sony is not exactly a software company. I do not like that idea on the PS4. I say put the hard drive inside, put their software on it, don't let them negotiate between the two. You're just going to have a better experience, in my opinion. It's going to cost you a little bit more, but your data's safer, I say that way. I mean, yeah, it's backed up to the cloud, stuff like that, but the other thing, when you do hook this up, you do have to format it to either FAT32 or EXFAT, which FAT stands for File Allocation Table. It's kind of like the card catalog in your library. It tells the hard drive where everything is on it. Well, Sony still uses an old archaic file system instead of using like NTFS, but that's probably because NTFS is owned by Microsoft, so they probably don't want to have to pay Microsoft anything. As you see, oh, sorry, I don't think I got that on camera. I pulled out the 1 Phillips head screw up here, and then the hard drive just slides forward. And then we can start removing this hard drive to put in our nice 2 terabyte drive. That's about the biggest size you can get without breaking the bank. You can find a laptop drive that's 3 terabytes, but it's a little thick for the enclosure, I believe, and they're kind of overpriced because they're new. So, I mean, if you want to max it out, you can. And I'm pretty sure there's a way you could add extra power and put a full-size desktop drive up to this thing. I believe they do make Nyko, I think, makes an enclosure for that or something, if I remember right. That boosts up your thing and adds an extra power supply. The problem with that, though, is if the power supply comes disconnected while the system is running, you can have hard drive damage and stuff like that. So you now have two power cords. You need to make sure stay connected and don't lose power. Which actually comes down to, I recommend a battery backup. Be hooked up to all game systems, all electronics to keep them safe, because power from the power company does not stay what's called clean, which means it can damage your electronics. Low power is actually worse than high power, unless the high power is like lightning level. And we're pulling out the 500 gig hard drive here. Original Sony drive that was in there. And we just take and basically reverse the procedure to install the new drive. We drop it in like that. Some of these drives are a little thinner, which is funny. Thinner drive, more terabytes. Well, more gigabytes, actually. If you don't know, 1 terabyte is 1024 gigabytes. So we went from 500 gigabytes up to 2048 gigabytes. You do lose some of that in formatting, but you still get a huge advance in space. And on the newer systems, all games install entirely off the disk to the hard drive. The only reason you need the disk is to prove you own it. So games can run anywhere from 20 gigs up to, I think I've heard of 80 gig games sometimes. Some of that's download content, of course. But 80 gigs a piece, you want 2,000 gigs. It just makes it so you don't have to worry about anything. No uninstalling, reinstalling, it takes too long. Yeah, see, this one has a ton of extra space under the drive now. Oh, back to, by the way, I'm just reversing the procedure here to reinstall. But back to FAT, file allocation table. FAT32 is what the system, I believe, uses internally. EXFAT is another version, but it'll accept it now. Did I do a bad thing there? Looks like I did the one mistake that I probably should have told you not to do. And that is to put the drive in upside down. So let's take these screws back out and flip the drive over. Don't shove. If it feels like it doesn't go in really easily, it should just be like putting a Lego in. Nice, easy connector. The SATA connectors are a godsend from the old pin-based connectors of the PATA connectors. SATA is way better. Goes in nice and easy, you don't have to worry about it. But if it does not go in nice and easy, you've done something wrong. Like put the drive in upside down. Just talking too much about things and basically forgot what I was doing. But EXFAT is just basically extra file allocation table, which means it's like having an extra large card catalog. FAT32 came out so long ago that hard drives weren't that big when it came out. You have 32-bit of basically indexing so that you can, which you have basically 8 by, what's that come out to? I think it's like 8 by 4 lines of code, so you can basically, always forgetting the exact details of it, but basically you can only have so long of addresses, which means less data can be addressed, because the longer the address, the more space can be addressed. So EXFAT just uses longer addresses. I believe it uses the 64-bit architecture, but instead of calling it FAT64, they decided to call it EXFAT. Okay. And there we go. Fits in nicely once you put the drive in the right direction. So basically the things you need is, if you don't want to back up your data, you don't need the extra hard drive. But if you do want to back up your data, you're going to need that. You also need a USB for the reinstallation, like I was saying. You do have to download the file. Make sure it's the file for reinstallation, and make sure that you follow the instructions that they give you on the Sony website, because you have to make sure the folders are exact. That's a USB 3.0 drive with at least, I think, 2 gigs or something. I have overkill here. This is a 64 gig drive, flash drive, but... And pretty much just pop this back in. You plug your controller in, your USB in, and you do the installation. Like I said, this is a pretty easy, quick repair. You just got to know your stuff. Make sure you install and format with the computer with the right things. The flash drive, just you can use it off the shelf. It doesn't matter what it's formatted. I think most flash drives are formatted FAT32, if I remember right, or EXFAT. They're usually not NTFS. You can format them that way, and if you do, you're going to have probably issues.
So if you've reformatted your drive, well, you're probably going to have to let the system for it. Well, you're going to have to reformat it exFAT or FAT32. Another thing that I haven't mentioned in some of my repairs, always go with security seals. You always want to know if somebody reopened your system after you got finished with it. This one, I can't really put one on the outside because it'll make it not look pretty. But I can put one in here, make sure somebody didn't pull the hard drive back out or something. Most customers are pretty trustworthy, but you got that one every so often that wants to try to do something, or they accidentally do something and they don't want to pay for it and all that good stuff. So it's just better to be safe than sorry. But pretty much that's all for this one today. I will have another video up today. I believe I'm going to be fixing a PS4 controller also. I think that's all that's on the docket for today. But yep, really easy, simple repair to start out the day. I would show you the rest of it, but it's hard to record the process on camera, and it takes forever for the install and then moving the data back for the restore. Just basically long time of stuff, but it's pretty easy, pretty simple. Just follow the instructions on screen on your PS4. Subscribe and like if you could. Thanks a lot.